Hey y'all! I'm back again with another Pokemon Challenge video. Pokemon Red with only one Voltorb was tantamount to torture, so this time I decided to try a Pokemon I thought would be slightly less exhausting. I wanted to see if I could beat Pokemon Red using only one Lickitung. As usual, the rules are I can only use one Lickitung in battle, and I can't use any items in battle. Also, no glitches or exploits. And by the way, if you like this kind of content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe and check out more of my videos on the channel. Unlike with Voltorb, Lickitung actually has decent stats for an unevolved Pokemon. The bulk is good, the offensive stats aren't the worst, but that speed stat of 30 is pretty terrible. Luckily for us though, Lickitung has an incredible move pool. Its level up moves are pretty bad, but the incredible amount of types of moves it can learn by TM have me just drooling with excitement. Okay, so that's awful, but there is one move in particular that I can't wait to use. Let me know in the comments which one you think it is. Oddly enough though, Lickitung can't learn Lick normally in red, blue, or yellow. The only way to have a Lickitung in these games with Lick is to transfer one from Pokemon Gold, Silver, or Crystal using the Time Machine. Speaking of licking, I nickname our Lickitung Dat Tongue Do, because I need to know what. Like always, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace the starting Pokemon with our Pokemon of choice. In this case, I've replaced Charmander with Lickitung so that our rival will pick Squirtle. Lickitung gets good coverage moves for all three starter choices, but overall Blastoise is the bulkiest and therefore I think the most challenging. As usual with these games, the first two rival battles aren't much to talk about, so I think moving forward I'll just go ahead and skip the second rival fight altogether, since it's technically not required to progress through the game, and it adds unnecessary levels that I'd like to avoid. Then again, I don't know, a lot of times we have to grind before Brock, so maybe it's not the worst. Speaking of Brock, as usual he's a real pain in the patootie. We don't have access to any special moves yet, so our best option is to try to prevent his Pokemon from moving while we attack for 1 damage each turn. Supersonic is nice for confusion when it hits, but it only has 55% accuracy. Wrap helps to stall turns and protect Lickitung from being hit, but it also has a lower accuracy, only 85%. Stomp, however, is a great move. It does way more damage than Wrap, plus it has a 30% flinch chance. This makes the Geodude pretty consistent to knock out. However, the Onix is the real problem. Because it's faster than Lickitung, I can't flinch it with Stomp, and it's harder to play around Bide when Onix gets to go first each turn. I tried this one many times, and each time it basically came down to getting a little lucky with the Onix's Bide. This battle would have been even easier had I just leveled up Lickitung, but like always I'm trying to do this run with the minimum levels possible. Now that we have the Boulder Badge, anytime we activate the Badge Boost glitch, we will get an additional boost to our attack, which is really great for Lickitung. Off in Cerulean City, I have another battle with our rival Bubs, and the Pidgeotto is a pain as always with Sand Attack. Thanks to Stomp, Lickitung does really good damage to most Pokemon, but you can't hurt what you can't hit. I tried this one at least 10 times before I was able to get to the last Pokemon Squirtle with enough health left to survive Bubble and take the victory. It's battles like these having to deal with Sand Attack that really illustrates just how low speed is a detriment in these games, especially for Lickitung. After Bubs, it's time to take on Misty. Her Staryu doesn't do much damage, even with Water Gun, so Stomp makes quick work of the Aquatic Shuriken. Starmie, however, is much stronger and knows the much more powerful Bubble Beam. As you can see from the battle, Bubble Beam is able to do huge damage, but thankfully, Misty switches to using Tackle and we're able to stomp our way to victory. It's a good thing she picks bad moves. On the SSN, we battle our rival Bubs once again. This battle though is tricky. His Pidgeotto and Raticate do lots of physical damage, so we need to boost our defense with Defense Curl. However, using Defense Curl in front of the Pidgeotto gives it more opportunities to use Sand Attack to lower our accuracy. Even with lowered accuracy though, the best strategy seems to be set up Defense Curls, because otherwise the Raticate will often finish Lickitung off with a Hyper Fang. I'm not fond of strategies that require too much luck, but it's hard to avoid at this point in the game. On the SSN, we picked up the TM for Body Slam and taught it to Lickitung. This move is a huge improvement. It's 80 base power and has a 30% chance to paralyze the opponent, which helps make up for Lickitung's awful speed. Lieutenant Surge's Pokemon all have low defense, so although Thunderbolt from Raichu could knock out Lickitung, he never uses it, and so we're easily able to make quick work of all of his Pokemon. Surge gives us the TM for Thunderbolt, but we hold on to Bubble Beam for now. After traversing Rock Tunnel, I reach Lavender Town, where it's time for another battle with rival Bubs. It's essentially the same battle as before, except now he has Execute instead of Eradicate. RIP RAT. At this point though, Lickitung has Body Slam, Bubble Beam, and Defense Curl, and Body Slam continues to be a fantastic move. Bubble Beam makes great coverage for anything resisted by Body Slam, like those rock types, and it also helps that Defense Curl activates the Badge Boost glitch to slightly raise our attack, making Body Slam even better while being defensive. Execute is pretty bulky, but it can't do much to Lickitung in return, so it's a pretty quick and easy first try victory, although I can't say I'm actually surprised. At this point I decide to go see if we can beat Erica with our current level, and if not, the battle with Giovanni will give us a few more levels, and I'm not worried about Giovanni since Bubble Beam will destroy his Pokemon. Erica leads off with Victory Bell, which can do massive damage using an always critical hit Razor Leaf, and Sleep Powder connecting is basically an automatic loss. But if you can take out the Victory Bell, Body Slam makes quick work of all of our Pokemon, and you can just move right along. Now it's time for a quick stop at the game corner to take care of some subplot. Giovanni was as easy as I expected. His Onix and Rhyhorn get washed away by Bubble Beam, and once again Kangaskhan refuses to use Comet Punch. Every time I battle him, he uses every move but Comet Punch. Rage is absolutely terrible, but he seems to like it for some reason. With that taken care of, I actually go straight to the Sylph Company in Saffron City to take on Team Rocket. We battle rival Bubs once again, and this time his Pokemon are pretty high level. However, the main reason I played the game in the order I did was to pick up the TM for Swords Dance in the Sylph Company. Lickitung with Body Slam and Swords Dance is actually kinda nutty. With 3 Swords Dance, Lickitung's attack stat is multiplied by 4, not to mention the roughly 50% boost to the other stats thanks to the Badge Boost glitch. Lickitung makes quick work of Bubs' Pokemon, and we go up the building to slap around Giovanni some more. The bruises from our prior battle have barely healed, yet here we are once again. It's basically no strategy, simply set up Swords Dance and sweep with a Body Slam. It's a good opportunity to mention that, spoiler alert, the next part of this run is a lot like this. We begin a 4 gym leader boss rush by taking on Koga. His Pokemon use moves that lower accuracy, but since Koga's AI is essentially random, the only Pokemon we have to worry about is Weezing. It outspeeds Lickitung and always goes for self-destruct, but thankfully it doesn't crit, so this one is an easy win. The battle with Blaine is just as easy. His Growlithe and Arcanine can do big damage with Takedown, and Ponyta and Rapidash both outspeed and can trap Lickitung with Fire Spin. Thankfully though, Blaine is notorious for his absolutely horrendous AI, even doing nonsensical things like using Super Potions on Pokemon with full health. All it takes is 3 Swords Dances and sweep with Body Slam to get the Volcano badge. The battle with Sabrina is even less difficult than the previous 2. It only takes a single Swords Dance for Body Slam to OHKO all of her Pokemon, plus now we have Blaine's Gym Badge, our special stat also gets a boost. Alakazam does actually survive after using Reflect and could have knocked us out with Psychic, but it chooses to go for Psywave, which just does random damage, so we get the badge easily. Surprisingly, Giovanni is the toughest of these last 4 gym leaders, mostly because of Dugtrio. It's fast and goes for Sand Attack, and on top of that, its base 110 speed means it has a 23.5% chance to critical hit every turn. 2 critical hit digs are enough to knock out Lickitung, so that's not good. It's also important to make sure that you don't level up before the Rhydon, because otherwise it will outspeed you and can actually one-hit KO you with Fissure. So there's a little bit of strategy here, although it's still not that difficult. Before heading to Victory Road, we have another fight with our rival Bubs. Lickitung is easily able to set up 3 Swords Dances and sweep his entire team. However, there is one possibility where we can lose this battle. Alakazam knows both Psychic and Psybeam, and a critical hit from either will one-hit KO Lickitung. The rival at this point will essentially pick randomly between the 4 moves Alakazam has, and since Alakazam has the same base speed as Dugtrio, it has essentially a 1 in 8 chance to knock out Lickitung. Now it's time for the Elite Four, and here are our stats. Everything's pretty decent, besides that speed stat of course. Our moves haven't changed much, and in fact I've kept Bubble Beam all this time mainly just for Bruno's 2 Onyx, although I could easily replace this with Ice Beam and probably do the same thing. First up is Lorelei, and I did consider replacing Bubble Beam with Thunderbolt, but decided that Body Slam was good enough to do the job. I went in at level 50, but after a couple tries, decided to go and just level Lickitung up to 51. The reason for this is that I would level up right before Jinx, losing all of our badge boosts for speed and special. Jinx would then put me to sleep with Lovely Kiss or freeze me with Ice Punch. Leveling up right before Lapras actually removes the badge boost for our attack, so even after 3 Swords Dances, it's able to survive a Body Slam. And during several attempts, Lickitung got frozen by Blizzard, but as long as that doesn't happen, this is the best strategy to defeat Lorelei at this level. Next up is Bruno, and you'll notice that I delay knocking out the Onyx with Bubble Beam in order to set up both Swords Dance and Defense Curl. This is actually important because without the Defense Curl, Hitmonlee can one-hit KO Lickitung with High Jump Kick. Thankfully though, with 6 badge boosts to speed, we're able to outspeed the Hitmonlee before this can happen. Unfortunately though, at our current experience, Lickitung levels up right before the Machamp, meaning we lose our badge boost to speed, which makes us vulnerable to either Submission or Fissure. Thankfully though, Fissure almost never hits, and Submission will only knock us out with a critical hit, and Machamp has low enough speed that that's not very likely. Now for the part of the run that always makes me tremble with fear, the Ghost Elite Four member Agatha. Although technically she should be known as the Poison Elite Four member, since only 3 of her Pokemon are Ghost types, but all of her Pokemon are Poison types. Anyway, her Pokemon are incredibly annoying, and Lickitung's Body Slam doesn't affect her Ghost types, so we're in a bit of a pickle. Even worse, their special stats are very high, so our special moves don't do very much in return, even with the badge boost we get for special. After trying this battle dozens of times, I replaced Defense Curl with Double Team. Her Gengar is so fast that it's nearly impossible to knock it out without getting hit by Hypnosis or Confuse Ray, and since it would take all 9 badge boosts in speed for Lickitung not to be slower, it's hard to avoid. That 30 base speed stat is really such a burden. Using Double Team to dodge your status moves is literally the only way to make this work. Even at level 100, Lickitung won't outspeed her Gengar, so I don't really have a choice. And even with Double Team, it's still essentially a lottery whether or not Lickitung will get enough turns to attack her in order for us to win. I'm really starting to get tired of Agatha's shenanigans. I'm not even going to pretend like I won this one on the first try. I had to try this so many times. It's a similar issue to Giovanni's Dugtrio, since his Aerodactyl has about a 25% crit chance and knows the move Hyper Beam, which will very often critical hit and one-hit KO Lickitung. Even without a critical hit, Lickitung usually takes so much damage trying to set up Swords Dances against Lance's Pokemon that Aerodactyl can knock it out with Hyper Beam anyways. So the strategy is, before the battle, use a rare candy so we don't level up in the middle of the battle, and then set up all of your Double Teams and Swords Dances. Then you can one-hit KO everything on his team. And now it's time for the champion, and just like with Lance, the battle is all about outspeeding the Alakazam so that it doesn't land a critical hit Psychic and one-hit KO Lickitung. Normally in this battle I would say that Pidgeot is pretty easy to set up against, but actually our own good moveset goes against us this time. Pidgeot loves to go for a Mirror move, and it's not the end of the world necessarily if Pidgeot copies a Double Team, but if it copies Double Team and Swords Dance while we're trying to set up, we can be in huge trouble. At that point, it's basically a game of sudden death between Pidgeot and Lickitung. First one to hit wins. There were many attempts where Pidgeot was the winner of the sudden death match, and I'm not showing you all of those because that would make this video about an hour and a half long. Thankfully though, for this battle, nothing really bad happens with Pidgeot, and we're able to set up all of our Double Teams and Swords Dances and knock out the Pidgeot with a single Ice Beam. From the many attempts that I did, it seems to be about 50-50 whether the rival will go into Alakazam or Rhydon next, but in this one he goes into Alakazam. Either way, it's important that we get all of our boosts set up so that Alakazam does not outspeed us, otherwise the battle is lost. On top of that, Rhydon has access to the one-hit KO move Horn Drill, and Lickitung is not naturally faster than it, so if we don't boost, it can outspeed and knock us out in a single hit. Once we get past the Alakazam though, you know how we do what we do when we do what we do. Lickitung body slams all of Bubs' Pokemon into oblivion, and we are able to beat the run with just one Lickitung. Turns out the Blastoise wasn't as bulky as I originally expected. And with that, we've done it! Well, compared to the Voltorb run, this one was an absolute treat. And it's cool to know that there are a number of different ways I could have done this. Different moves, different strategies, different levels. The possibilities are kinda endless. Like Voltorb though, I managed to find out during the making of this video that Lickitung is also based off of a Japanese creature of folklore. These were known as the Akaname, and they were said to lick the filth out of bathhouses? Well, despite how patently disgusting that is, I guess it makes sense considering the way Lickitung licked away the filth and grime that Voltorb challenge left on my gosh dang soul. Anyways, if you like this run, be sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you'll know right away the next time one of these episodes is uploaded. I'm already working on the next video where I try to beat Pokemon Red using only one Jigglypuff. Fun fact, Jigglypuff doesn't learn a damaging move until level 9. That one should be interesting. Let me know in the comments what other Pokemon you want to see or what other kinds of challenges you want to see. And until next time, bye!